when we're not quite sure exactly what to do or which direction to go, I want you all to get a sense and know that it's actually not okay. It's not okay at all to walk around in any state of confusion for too long. And the danger that that really, really has on our progress, our development, the way we see ourselves. It is not okay to walk around in any form of confusion whatsoever. And that's when it relates to, even if it relates to your spiritual life, your personal development, especially, as well as in entrepreneurship and in business. So you all let me know if you can hear me. You all just comment really quickly if you see me on here. I actually was not planning on going live. It's very rare that I've even gone live at the end of a day on a Friday. But I have a 4:15, a meeting in about 20 minutes, and I like going live before my last meetings. That way, if anyone is looking or considering coming into the Unlocking Greatness community, you can jump on a Zoom call and meet with me for a few minutes. But let's talk about the spirit of confusion, and let's talk about why that is so important, that it's not okay to walk around in confusion. Do you all know what begins to happen when you spend your days? Just think about your day that you had even today. When someone says, "Hey, Ms. Z, I love you." Much love from Barbara. Barbara, I love you too. East Coco says, "Is Zen nice surprise?" Hey there. I wanna convict you all a little bit. I hope that this convicts your spirit in a good way. What do you think is the result? That's probably a good way of putting it. What do you all think is the result of walking around in any state of confusion whatsoever? Shan asked a question. How do we handle being disappointed by God? I feel like he just allowed the devil to tear me down. I'm so tired. Shan, I could spend this whole session just talking to you on that one. I'm assuming you've not read my book Necessary. And I don't mean to say that to promote a book. I'm just assuming that you've not read it, because my entire book was written kind of around that whole question that you're saying. Because I wrote chapters in there on about when God says no, can he still be your God? Chapters in there when I felt everything was going wrong in my life. So I don't have time to go into it now, Shan, but I would love for you to read Necessary, or at least get the audio book, especially the chapter I wrote right as I was writing the book and my son passed away unexpectedly. So Shan, I don't have time to go into that one right now with you, but I hope that what I'm about to share helps you a little bit. You all, what do you think is the result of walking around and being in a state of confusion? How do you think that that impacts your life when you're not clear on the direction to go? You're not clear on exactly what you need to do or how you need to go about doing something. And I'm talking about spiritual growth. And I pray to God that you all are focused on your spiritual growth right now. If you all are not aware of what is going on in the spirit right now, my goodness, my goodness. My goodness, it's a lot happening. So I pray to God that your spiritual growth is very important to you. I pray to God your professional or personal development is very important to you. That's really, really key. Getting your mindset where it needs to be and making sure that you have the right boundaries and barriers and things in place. And also for those of you who are entrepreneurs, I pray to God that you're getting serious about your business. How are you growing your business? What Bible-based principles are you following, and all of those things? But I want to talk about just being in confusion right now. I've welcomed new members into the Unlocking Greatness community this week. And in fact, earlier today, I met with one other person. And I'm finding a common theme with almost everyone that I'm speaking to. Do you all realize that almost every person from all around the world, I speak to people from the UK, from Africa, the United States, you name it. Do you all know the story is the same with everyone just about? Just about everyone who at least have reached out to me. You know, the story is almost the same. It's either, wow, I really need to grow closer to God. I'm feeling some distance here. I'm not quite sure which direction to go, or who I really am, or what the anointing is on my life, or what is the calling, what am I supposed to be doing? Or get this, a lot of them have said, Z, I just don't know what it is, but I'm all over the place right now. Thank you for the hearts. That's what they've said. I'm all over the place. There's just so many things going on, and I'm just confused in terms of knowing what to prioritize, what not to prioritize. Some of the entrepreneurs have said even which business adventures to go into. Like, there's just so much, right? Or they're just like, I'm just not consistent with anything. I've been hearing that from a number of people saying, Z, I don't know what it is, but I'm just not consistent. I'm easily distracted. So I want to ask you all, I'm going to ask the question again. What is wrong with having confusion in your life? How does that negatively impact you all? Someone says, I feel all those ways. How does that negatively impact you when you're walking around in any form of confusion? You all give me some answers on that. What does confusion do in your life, and why would I even be taking a little bit of time out of my schedule before I wrap up my day to talk about this? What does it cost you? That's probably a better way of putting it. What does it cost you to walk around in any state of confusion? Okay, Lynn says it triggers self-doubt. And Lynn, you know what? That's actually literally one of the things I have written down, so thank you for saying that. Lynn says it triggers self-doubt. Why would it trigger self-doubt, Lynn? Can you go a little further into that? Why would it trigger self-doubt? Someone says a real proverb says it paralyzes you. It keeps you stunted. Patricia says it's unsettling. Barbara says it stops your accomplishments. Miss Paint Siva says it feels like I don't know how to live. Patricia says it creates insecurity. So you all are already answering many of the things I've actually written down here. One of the things I put on here is that it definitely triggers self-doubt. It has you walking in circles. You all, I've been there. That's why I can speak on this, right? You start something, and next thing you know, you're doing something else because you've not taken the time. Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but let me just say this. You start something, you don't finish it. Or you set out to do something, but because you've not taken the time to actually, and I'm going to say this in the best way I can, to actually become that newer version of yourself, getting rid of that old identity. I put a post up either yesterday or today on old identities. If you do not know how or put into action getting rid of that old identity, that old version of who you were, even yesterday, you all, if you do not constantly be in battle with that and making sure that each and every day you make sure you wake up with this new identity, this purpose, you wake up with this mission that yesterday is behind me, I'm moving forward. If you do not take the time to learn how to shed and get rid of that old identity, and that's more than just kind of sitting and saying some religious stuff and just saying a few prayers. But if you don't take the time to learn how to do that, you can find yourself, especially at stages in life as you're older as well, running around and walking in the same circles and doubting everything. And here's one of the big things. None of you all mentioned this one. You could miss out on some of the biggest opportunities in your life and don't even know it. Lynn says it's frustrating not knowing the answer, and it makes us feel like we're not capable of handling the problem, leading to self-doubt. Lynn, you got it. You got it. Have you all ever read the book of Deuteronomy? And specifically in Deuteronomy, and I encourage you all to read Deuteronomy, even if you just read chapters 1 and 2. What's really interesting, and I was just looking this over before going live, what's really interesting in this is in chapter 1, verse 6, the Lord our God said to us at Horeb, you have stayed long enough at this mountain, traveling around the same mountain over and over and over again. Then he goes on to tell them, go and take possession of the land that the Lord swore to you. That's in verse 8, right? Then it goes down in verse 20, and it says, then I said to you, you've reached the countryside of the Amorites, which the Lord your God has given us. See, the Lord your God has given, let me hold up my Bible here. It says, see, the Lord your God has given you the land. Go and take possession of it. As the Lord, the God of your father, told you to do so, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Do you all want to know what they did after they were told to go and take possession of what was given to them? Does anyone know what happened? And just so I don't lose you, let me make sure you understand why I'm bringing that passage up as an example. Many of you on this live right now, I would dare say at least about 80% of you, you pretty much know what God has called you to do, or what you have at least set out to go and do. And some of you have even visualized it and seen it and cried over it and prayed over it and started something. Am I right? No matter what it is, it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship. It could be a spiritual goal or personal goal or something like that. So you've already seen it. God has already shown you this is who you are. This is the direction to go. This is what I want you to do. And so now when you go back to this passage, when you think about in Deuteronomy 1, when he's telling them, I've already given it to you. Go and take possession and get it. Barb says they kept on going around the same mountain just like me. See, Barb, you're giving the whole story away. But they did something interesting even before that. In verse 22, Then all of you came to me and said, let us send men ahead to spy out the land for us and bring back a good report about the route that we are to take and the towns we are to come to. The idea seemed good to me, so I selected 12 of you, and they literally, think about this for a moment. You all, I know I get kind of giddy. I don't know if that's the right word when I get into the word, but think about this for a moment. God already told you that this is yours. He's already given you the dream or the vision or the goal. So now insert yourself into this story. He's already told them, this is the land. This is for you. Go get it. It's yours. They turn around and say, well, let's go send some people to check out the land and see if they'll come back with a good report. So in other words, because I'm not confident in who I am, because I have not spent the time getting in the spirit what belongs to me before I get it in the physical, and I talk about that quite a bit inside of my mentorship. For those of you who are already members, you know what I'm talking about. Anytime, and you all please learn from my mistakes, anytime I don't capture what belongs to me before I try to go out there and get it in the spirit, in the physical, anytime I take my little butt out there thinking in my own knowledge and my own will that I'm going to get out there and try to get something that I've not seen, that God has not shown to me, that is anytime I've tried to do it, I pretty much ended up messing it up almost every time. And guess what they did here? God told them it belonged to them. And they thought it was a good idea to go and send some people to go get a report. So you all know the rest of that story. The report came back. They saw people tall and they got afraid and they just felt like they couldn't do it. They even said, these people are stronger and they're taller than us and their cities are large. And they just go on and talk about how we look like grasshoppers in their eyes. So whenever I read the Bible, I like to sort of look at the story beneath the story. And it just reminds me of those times in life when we just don't know who we are, right? And so God gives you this dream, and I know this live has to be for somebody that needs to hear this right now. You have a goal and a dream that's so large and so beyond your current version. Sometimes you talk yourself out of pursuing that thing and you sit around in a state of confusion simply because you don't take the time to really focus on, God, who really am I in your presence? And get this, even for those of you who feel like you know who you are, because some of you I can see now probably thinking, well, I know who I am in God and I have strong faith in God. Okay, so let's put that one there. Let's go to the second tier. The second tier is personal development. So since you know all these things and you know what you're supposed to be out there doing, what's going on with it now? What's stopping you? Someone says, but God, I'm going to try again. What's stopping you? You all see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's that old identity. I've struggled with it, so I already know. Sometimes it's that old mindset. Sometimes it's not having the right routines and habits and things in place, operating from old, operating paradigms. Sometimes it's not even having support. That's what I love about the Unlocking Greatness community. We bring people together from all around the world. Do you realize how difficult it is to stay focused on a goal longer than a week or two when you're not in an environment with like-minded people who are there to support you? Not only support you, but provide a light and help lead you along the way. Sometimes you just lose the momentum because you're not even in the right environment. And you're out there, bless your heart, trying to do it on your own. Loving God and praying and reading your Bible and all of that, but you don't even have help. Personal development is so incredibly important. So what happened with them? They took their own advice. They sent some people out there to spy on the land. They started looking at things in the physical instead of in the spirit, which we all have done it. Am I right? And they got scared. And what did they end up doing? I think Barb had hit on it earlier. Someone says, greetings, Mama from South Africa. Welcome, welcome. What did they end up doing when they saw that the people were taller than them? They had large cities. And, God, I guess, I think I heard you right, that you told me that I'm supposed to be going in this direction. But God, it's not looking like how it's supposed to be looking. So what do you all think happened with them? Can anyone give the answer? What happened when these people started looking at things in the physical and started basing off of their own circumstances and what they thought they were capable of doing? Anyone know what happened with that? I'm gonna be closing this meeting out in about 5 minutes. Anyone know what happened with that? Does anyone know in the Bible what happened? I think Barb had touched on it earlier. What happened when they were told that the land was theirs? They got scared. They signed a report. They had somebody go out to try to figure out what was going on and what was going on in the land. Anyone know what happened? Anyone know what happened? Let me ask you this question. So do you think that they turned around and went the opposite direction? Or do you think that they went ahead and did what they were called to do? The real Proverbs, you just nailed it, said no, they were stuck for 40 years. Barb said they kept walking around that same mountain. Someone even said, Patricia even said they got lost. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. You all, 40 years is a long time. Now I'm gonna step on some toes really quickly. How long have you been walking around in any state of confusion? How long have you procrastinated in any area of your life? At what point do you make the decision? I've traveled around this same mountain long enough. This is ridiculous at this point. Because if I knew how to figure it out on my own by this point, I would have done it. Thank you all for the hearts. I see them coming in. I try to tell you all the time, and I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but every time I think about my son who's only just a few blocks away from here, unfortunately in a graveyard, I always am reminded how short and precious life is. You all, we are not here forever. I keep telling you this. I'm talking to the young folks too. I'm talking to the young folks too, because my son was young. So you have to ask yourself, how long am I going to continue to entertain having self-doubts about myself? That's not okay, not even another day. How long am I going to continue to try to figure things out on my own or walk around in any state of confusion? How long am I going to continue to put off growing stronger even in my walk with God and letting other things distract me and take my focus? How long am I going to allow myself to start projects and then stop them and not stay focused on it? What do I need to do to get the help that I need? They wandered around for over 40 years. And then in verse 2, one of my favorite verses, Deuteronomy 2:2, then the Lord said to me, you have made your way around this hill country long enough. Now turn north. Now turn north. He said, you've been doing this long enough. I want to turn to one other passage really quickly. Somebody says, stay focused. Someone is saying, amen. I'm seeing your comments come in. You all, I'm going to turn to one more passage. For those of you who have been looking for some help, and especially for those of you who've been looking for any form of mentorship or to get yourself into the right environment where you can grow and be around people that can help you. My last meeting of the day, thank you, God, is in just a little bit, is at 4:15. I'm probably going to be just a couple minutes late in that meeting. And that's just welcoming and meeting new people who are considering joining the Unlocking Greatness community. I've had some of the best conversations this week with new members who've joined. I already love them. I already feel like they're part of the Unlocking Greatness family. And it's just beautiful seeing people make a decision that, you know what, Z, I need help spiritually. Some of them have said, Z, my main focus is spiritual development and personal growth. And then I've had a number of entrepreneurs as well that recently joined that just said, things have not been going well. They've been all over the place. And they said, I've got to get myself into the right environment so I can be in these live workshops, get the help that I need and stop trying to figure it out all on my own. I even spoke to one lady who's in like 6 or 7 different businesses, just all over the place. And she's just like, I've got to get my head on straight. Like I'm literally going in 50 directions and it's not healthy to do this anymore. So if any of that defines you all, if you're looking to get some help, if you've been praying and asking God to show you the way to go, you all can join me on the Zoom. And that's for new members only, by the way. If someone's new looking to join, you can go to unlockinggreatness.com. That's my website, is Unlocking Greatness. And the link is in my bio. And I'm just going to talk to you for a few minutes and see how I can help you. We're going to be on the Zoom for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And by the grace of God, if it's the Lord's will, if I'm able to help you, and I believe that you're going to be able to grow and learn inside of our beautiful platform with all of our courses and live workshops and guest speakers, and I teach a lot of the classes directly, by the way. But if I believe that we're able to help you, then I'm going to definitely invite you to go ahead and join and officially welcome you. Let's look at one passage really, really quickly before we go. That's in Matthew chapter 13. I've read this quite a bit, but I want you all to read it on your own, and that's the parable of the sower. And this is a beautiful parable, and the reason I love it so much is it talks about this farmer that went out to sow seed, and as he was scattering the seed, some of the seed fell on the path, and I'm going to go really fast with explaining this, but some of the seed fell on the path, and Jesus goes on to explain about, the seeds that fell on the path, that was the ones that the evil one came and snatched up out of their heart immediately what was sown. My God. So it's kind of like some of you all on this live right now and feeling kind of good, right? And literally within 2-3 minutes, because I'm getting ready to end this live, literally just in an instant, before you even go to bed at night, you don't even remember anything that you've learned. You don't even remember anything about, man, that's right, I need to make this change, because you're distracted with something else on social media or something else happened. That's sort of a weak example, but I'm giving an example. That is a seed that's sown on the path, which means it felt good in the moment, but immediately the evil one came and snatched it up. So maybe somebody send you a text message that ticks you off or something. You get my point? And I know that's a weak example, but that's an example. Then there are seeds that fell on rocky places, right? And good thing about this is, I picture that those are the people that, man, I'm going to read my Bible a little bit and pray a little bit. Like, this sounds good. I'm at least put 1 foot forward and try with this. But then the one that fell on the rocky places, it says, the one who received the seeds that fell on rocky places is the man who hears the word at once and receives it with joy. But since he has no root, that pinches my heart every time I hear that. Since there's no root, like you didn't go deep enough. Those are the ones that watch all of the live events that everybody does, right? Maybe you have a few books you even read, always on YouTube watching some sort of a motivational video, right? And I'm not knocking that, I'm just making a point, because you got to start somewhere. But since there's no roots, didn't go deep enough spiritually, deep enough into reshaping your character, deep enough into your personal development, deep enough into even anything, entrepreneurship, you name it. But it says, since they had no root, he lasts for only a short time. And Jesus says, when trouble or persecution comes because of the word, he quickly falls away. And then there's other seeds that fell among the thorns. And the seeds that fell among the thorns, and I'm just going to read this really quickly. The one who received the seeds that fell among the thorns is the man who hears the word, but the worries of this life, I've been there, you all, and the deceitfulness of wealth choke it, making it unfruitful. So think about that particular seed, and you should be asking yourself as you're listening to me out right now, well, which seed am I, if I were to have a real honest discussion with myself? Am I someone that, yes, I've actually developed some deep roots, right? But the worries of this life, and you all, we've all been there. I'm not saying I haven't, we've all been there. The deceitfulness of wealth, right? We can throw in the words distractions, confusion, all of that. It says it chokes it, and unfortunately it makes it unfruitful. Does that make sense? And now the good news is, the good seed, the seed that was sown on good soil, this is the seed that produces a crop 160, 30 times what was sown, right? And you all can go ahead and read all of Matthew 13 on that. Anyway, I'm going to be closing this out. My message to you all is this. Don't walk around in confusion any longer in your life. If there's an area in your life where you feel this is a mountain I've continued to travel around over and over and over again, I need to make some decisions in my life that before this year ends, before this year is over, before even the new year begins, I need to make some decisions in my life. You know what? Enough is enough. I've traveled around this mountain long enough. And if that in any way defines you all, I would absolutely love to meet you. I met a lady the other day. We had a really good conversation, and I believe she's joining the Unlocking Greatness community as well. And she said, well, let me not use her as an example. Let me just give a general example. If your mindset is, you know what, well, maybe I'll wait until, the beginning of the year or a little bit later because there's just so much going on in life right now. Here's what I would say to that. It is never the right time to start working on you in your spiritual growth or your personal development. It is, if you believe the enemy will leave you alone and allow this right moment to come for you to do that, After the holidays, it'll be something else. Or maybe you're waiting on the environment to change where you're at or whatever. No, 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 no. You change so that you change the atmosphere and you change that environment. Do you understand? The enemy loves to keep us in a state of confusion, procrastination, and delays. It's happened to me in my life many times, you all. That's why I can tell you this right now. The enemy loves it because as long as he can keep yourself focused, not focused on what God has called you to do, and as long as he can keep you distracted, and as long as he can get you, like we just read in Deuteronomy chapter 1 and chapter 2, as long as he can keep you from walking into that territory that God has for you, he's good. I love you all. I want you all to grow spiritually. I want you all to grow even in your personal development. And for many of you who are in business, I want your businesses to grow and be successful. I do. But you have to answer the question, have I traveled around the same mountain long enough? All right? So you all make the decision today. There's no more confusion in my life. I'm going to do better. All right? I love you all. You all have a wonderful weekend. For those who want to join me for maybe about 15, 20 minutes, if you're not a member of the Unlocking Greatness community and you just want to talk a little bit and see if I'm able to help you, you can go to unlockinggreatness.com. I have a meeting that should have started 7 minutes ago, so I really need to get off of this call like right this moment. But you can go to unlockinggreatness.com and jump on a Zoom call. You don't even have to enter an email. Just go to unlockinggreatness.com and jump on a quick Zoom with me. And I pray to God that I'm able to help you and welcome you into the Unlocking Greatness community. Let me just say this quickly before I close out. When you go into that meeting, if you're not able to turn on your camera or at least your microphone so you can speak, my team is going to boot you out of the meeting like immediately, just so you know. So you're going to need to at least turn on your camera to talk to me or your microphone because unfortunately, you all, not everyone has the best intentions. And with all of the robots and things out there, we just cannot allow anything in the meeting trying to do some things that I won't go into detail. I'll just say you need to turn on your camera or your mic if you jump in the meeting with me. But let me go ahead and close out this call. This is my last meeting of the day, and you all are welcome to join me. I love you all. Let me close this out. Bye-bye.